Devotional. A Pledge of Fidelity. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 24. He who calls you is faithful, and he will do it also. In a world of broken promises and failed intentions, God's faithfulness stands as an unshakable anchor for the soul. This short, yet powerful verse is a statement of absolute assurance that reminds us that the work God begins in our lives, He Himself will accomplish. The assurance of our salvation and sanctification rests not in our ability to be faithful, but in the unwavering faithfulness of the One who called us. 1. The source of our security. The verse begins with a fundamental truth: He who calls you is faithful. Our confidence is not in our own consistency, but in God's unchanging character. He is faithful by nature, and that faithfulness is the guarantee that His calling is genuine. If He has called us to a life of purpose and a relationship with Him, we can trust that His faithfulness will make it possible. 2. The work of salvation. The promise that He who also shall do it refers to the work of sanctification in the believer's life. God not only saves us from sin, but transforms and molds us into the image of His Son. This is an ongoing process that will not stop halfway. The promise of God's faithfulness is our assurance that He will bring us to spiritual maturity, purifying and strengthening us day by day. 3. Rest in His hands. The weight of the Christian life often falls on us. We feel that we have to be perfect, that we must do enough to please God. However, this verse frees us from that burden. He tells us that the attainment of our salvation and sanctification does not depend on our effort, but on His work. As we rest in His faithfulness, we can live in peace, knowing that He will finish what He started. Practical applications. 1. Let go of the burden of perfection. If you feel overwhelmed by the weight of trying to be a good Christian, turn that burden over to God. Accept that your perfection does not depend on you, but on God's work in your life. 2. Remember His past faithfulness. When your faith falters, reflect on how God has been faithful in the past. Remember the times He has sustained, provided, or guided you. Use those memories as evidence that He will continue to be faithful in the present. 3. Pray with confidence. As you pray for your spiritual growth, pray with confidence that He will hear and answer. Ask Him to help you become more like Christ, knowing that He is faithful and will do it. Conclusion. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 24 is a whisper of hope in the midst of our doubts. It reminds us that God's work in our lives is not an unfinished project. His calling is a commitment, and His faithfulness is the guarantee that He will carry us through to the end. He didn't save us to leave us halfway. Faithful is the One who calls us, who will also do it.